The day of reckoning is nearly upon us, Drew. 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves. Also, I think the NFC plays on that day, too. Hard to say, honestly. Are we worried about that? Are we just talking Titans-Chiefs today?
2 hosts on Sports Around the Bar, soon to be 1.
How do we not call this, though? How do we not call this?
It's our
Before
teams.
the season,
our
exactly.
Teams are like, we'll see each other at the AFC Championship.
Exactly. I'm surprised we didn't pick them both for the Super Bowl. Not mathematically possible, but we didn't pick them. Welcome into Sports Around the Bar. As always, I am Jakey Bartender, and I'm joined on center stool.
Well, real quickly, I did say my team was going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you told me they were going to win 17 out of their 16 games, too. Something along those lines.
Yeah, 17-0 in regular season.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know about that?
You did mention that. I do remember that. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we have these massive, massive games going on in the NFL. We hope your team's still playing, but if it's not, let me just say, this is going to be an interesting slate of games. If you're a neutral party, I think these are going to be great games.
Could you switch your screen for me? I'd really appreciate that.
I will as soon as I actually
do your job. Do your job. You know what's really a shame is I don't have any cool way of opening up my beer.
Well, it's
except that it's going to be Chiefs.
Good to see you, Michael Wellborn. He says Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl. I guess we'll have to see. That's all I can say. You know who else felt that way? Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. You know who else felt that way? Tom Brady and the Patriots. Titans have played spoiler this far, and they've done it all on the road. Why not now? That's what I ask you, America. Why not now? Why not us? After all, now that the Titans have beat the Patriots, they are America's team officially. They've taken that mantle from the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys fans. You had a good run, but you didn't beat Tom Brady.
Can I lay it on? That literally be your guys' only highlights. We ended the reign,
the dynasty
of the Patriots. We did
the Brady,
not
dynasty.
Father Time, not 6-time world championship.
Well, yeah, you don't end it by winning one.
We did. We were the reason why.
Good to see you, Martavius. Good to see you, Nate, as well. Who says go Pack, go. Jacob Reynolds. Good to see you as well. It's gonna be wild. That's all I can say. It's going to be amazing.
Patrick, good to see you, man. We're glad you're here, and it's going to be a great weekend. We've been excited about this ever since last weekend, and of what kind of excitement it would be our 2 teams going in the AFC Championship. We're excited about it, but we also don't want to ignore the other side. The NFC Championship is also a great matchup coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and we're joking about that. We are going to talk about that game just as much as we talk about the AFC side of things. Obviously, Green Bay versus San Fran, 2 13-3 teams. Ugh. As much as I'd say both of these teams should be evenly matched, it seems like one is a direct favorite, doesn't it? It seems like one is a heavy, heavy favorite. And not just because they played each other. Everyone's saying, oh, well, they played each other. The 49ers just blew Green Bay out of the water. I say that was one game in the regular season. How many teams have one bad game? Happens all the time.
Yeah, it happened on the week that the Titans and Chiefs played, and the Chiefs had a bad game.
One bad game. That's
one
all
bad
it takes.
game.
And guess what? They're about to have another one.
It's how unrealistic that game is.
And just every time they play Kansas City, it's one bad. Every time Kansas City plays Tennessee, it's just that was just a bad game. I don't understand why we always have bad games against this team. Some teams just
Julie, good to see you. She says Chiefs, baby. Absolutely. Let's go, Chiefs.
Ugh.
Terrence, good to see you as well. He says 22 must be stopped.
Yes. But how is the question. Everybody knows that, but the real question is how. Who stops him? Is it Tyrann Mathieu? Is it Chris Jones if he can play in this one, even though he's not practicing? Chiefs fans, be worried about that. I don't know.
He practiced today.
He did. Okay.
He had a press conference after practice today, and if you could read a face or body language, it didn't look positive. It honestly did not look positive. He looked
just breaks my heart.
Down, pretty depressed. But you know what? I sound like a broken record. Everyone knows you can run on the Chiefs. Everyone knows that's their weakness of the defense. Just run the ball up the middle. They can't stop you. Well, guess what? We still won 12 games. 12 games. If everyone knew you run the ball and you beat Kansas City, well, we'd have a lot more
L's
losses
in the score sheet.
Yeah, but we don't.
Well, I do agree with that. And there's nothing wrong with being a broken record as long as it's right. And like you said, everybody knows the record or how to beat the Chiefs. It's just nobody's done it. You can keep saying that all the way through Sunday. Then you'll have to retire it, though. No, I think Derrick Henry is a massive key to this game. I'm going to read a couple more of these comments here in just a second. Obviously, he's been the key to the Titans' playoffs. Everyone's saying Ryan Tannehill isn't performing. But I think more than that, the Titans haven't given him any kind of need to perform. He's throwing the ball about 14 to 15 times a game for 7 completions and about 85 yards, but he's throwing touchdowns. He's doing it efficiently, and he's doing it when the team needs that spark play, like Khalif Raymond against the Ravens or the Ferkser touchdown against the Patriots. He's doing it in the right moments, and that even though I don't think that game plan works against Kansas City, throw 14 times, like 1 touchdown and call it a day, I don't think it needs to be the passing attack and barrage that everyone's saying that it needs to be. I think Derrick Henry's going to play a massive role in this game, and the key will come down to how much can the Chiefs limit him. Because if they keep him to 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, you almost can call that a win with the way your offense scores.
Yeah, no doubt. Marsha, good to see you. She says she hearts the Chiefs. Jay says don't fall for the play action, hoping that...
But how hard is it to not fall for the play action when this guy's just been running you over? And you're like, how do we stop him? We got to get to him before those legs get churning. We got to get to him in the backfield. So you send everybody forward, and the next thing you know, he doesn't have it, and Tannehill's looking about 20 yards down the field. So it's very easy to talk about, very hard to do.
It's not going to be an eight man in the box. It's not going to be that kind of scenario. It's just going to have to be everyone plays your assignment. I mean, Andy Reid, all the coaches this week have been just talking about hold your ground and follow the ball. That's really literally what you do. And it's, because it's already been proven 8 men in the box does not stop Derrick Henry.
And I think the best thing you can say is you just have to win your matchups. If you do want to put more guys in the box and you want to try to slow down Henry with pressure and with numbers, then all your corners on the outside need to win. You need to take A.J. Brown out of the game. You need to take Corey Davis out of the game, a guy I know you don't respect, but I think he's a guy that when you forget about him can come up with a couple big catches, and he has already this year. If you've watched the Titans like I have, again, if you're just joining us, Drew is our Kansas City fan. I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. Watched every single one of their games. You can't forget about anyone in this offense because it does not matter who is actually catching the ball. Everyone pays attention to A.J. Brown because he put up a lot of big numbers and a lot of big plays, but it's guys like Anthony Firkser, a tight end you've probably never heard of. Michael Pruitt, another tight end you've probably never heard of. It could be Tajay Sharp or Khalif Raymond. It almost doesn't seem to matter who the Titans are focusing on in the passing game. Everybody can contribute. So I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs, you got to win your one-on-ones. Yeah. The corners need to shut down their man and probably not have a lot of help doing it.
And that's exactly what they did against the Texans. A lot different, a huge different team and matchup and all that, but they did that. They did that really well.
It also helps when the quarterback's throwing the ball 10 yards over their head, too. It's a little easier to shut down your man when the ball's not even close. But you're right. They did a good job. I'm not taking it away from them.
Terrence is kind of with me. He says Tannehill's passing game against the Chiefs could end badly for the Titans. And Tom says Andy Reid will figure him out. Figure him out. Get taken care of defensively. The scheme's going to be there.
I just think the Titans, and I've watched them for a long time, are going to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For the first half, you're going to see a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. I think the only way, it'll be important for the Chiefs to get them out of that. If you can score a bunch of points early and try to force the game into the air, I think that's the best way you beat this Titans team. But I think Kansas City's got the same kind of problem. You can't let the Titans get up on you because then they're just going to lean into Derrick Henry like they did in the Ravens game. Obviously, I think Kansas City can put up more points than the Ravens can, but the Ravens weren't bad. I think we're forgetting that. Everyone said, oh, well, they crumbled when they got way behind. The Ravens had a very explosive offense, and the Titans' defense shut it down. I don't know that you can go down 24-0 and and still expect to come back and just throw all over them like you did against Houston.
Yeah, no doubt. B's good to see you, man. He said, Drew, of course it was the Titans because if it was the Chiefs and the Patriots, they would have choked again. Ow, man.
Potentially, right? But who cannot say that the Patriots have a chance to beat them in the playoffs? That's not a slam against the Chiefs. That's everybody. Like, nobody wants to see that team in the playoffs. And conversely, nobody should want to see the team that beat them. Justin, good to see you, man. He says, go, Pack, go. Crazy Packers are getting no, and he means no credit. Well, I'll try to give them the ray of sunshine, but I look at that game, and 49ers look good, don't they? That's all I can say. I don't want to say anything negative about the Packers, but, man, they look good. They look like the 13-3 team. The Packers look like they're 10-6.
You're going to need the 17th overall offense of 2019 Packers to be at a top level. They're going to need to be fire on all cylinders because that defense is not going to give up anything to them. I get Aaron Rodgers has magic. I get Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. In my opinion, no doubt he will be a Hall of Famer. But you will literally need him and that run game and those receivers to be all firing. I mean,
and that's my question. What can Aaron Jones do? What can Jamal Williams do in this game?
That's the issue is even though you've seen the San Francisco 49ers allow a lot of points on defense, so far this postseason has not been very easy for teams to do.
I definitely agree with that. Michael Smith, good to see you, man. Always. Are you taking my Titans still? You still sticking with them? You staying strong? I know I strayed from the path of righteousness last week, but you got me back on it. I'm taking the Titans this week. Spoiler alert on that one. Robert, he says, hey, guys, Bosa will have 2.5 sacks, and Sherman has a pick on Sunday, and the 49ers will win 28-16. what of those things are likely to happen? This is where you speak. It's your turn. I'm like, I can't keep reading, Drew.
No.
I need to take a breath.
I was to be honest with you,
Thinking about it.
I think that's all realistic. Maybe except the pick. Aaron Rodgers went through 4 this whole season.
I think it wound up being a little bit higher than that, but yeah.
6?
Yeah.
I mean,
not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
I agree probably with the Bosa sacks. Aaron Rodgers can sometimes stay pretty heavy in the pocket, and Bosa's quick. There's no doubt about it. There's a reason he was the number 2 pick overall during the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He can get to it quick. I don't know. I think the game will be a little bit closer than that. I think the Packers want this win. And again, and I'll sound like a broken record one more time about a team, don't sleep on the Packers defense. Sedarius Smith, Preston Smith, Blake Martinez, those guys in the middle control everything that's going on. The 49ers have to earn everything they do against that defense. I think this defense is, again, one of the most underrated defenses going in. Not that they're top of the stat line, because they weren't, but they're very underrated.
They're effective, and I think the best way they play is to rush the passer. But the problem is just you look at the 49er run game and what the 49ers can do with all these backs that it seems like it doesn't matter who's carrying the ball, whether it's Mostert, whether it's Coleman, whether it's Breida. They could put anybody back there. And it seems like they're able to have success with Kyle Shanahan the way he runs the ball. And there was the same thing was true in Atlanta. It doesn't seem to matter who the guy is. All that matters is that they're running the ball and they're doing it effectively. I think Green Bay struggled with it at times. My key is going to be, what can they do to limit that run game? And I guess I said the same thing about Kansas City, and I don't want to sound like that's my key to every game. Yes, if you can make a team one-dimensional, you're better off for it. But I just think this Packers team is so built to rush the passer that they can beat Jimmy Garoppolo by putting pressure on him with Za'Darius Smith, with Preston Smith. They can get him to make some mistakes, because as good as he's looked in his time in San Fran, I haven't seen it as much this year. Kyle Shanahan has said for years, it takes multiple years to learn my system. Matt Ryan, the first year he was there, did not really do well in that system. And then the next year he looked like an MVP. Right now we might be seeing some of that, and Garoppolo is not quite up to snuff with this offense. He's not looking like Garoppolo of the past that was making those astounding pass plays. Instead, he's like the guy that throws for 180 yards and doesn't make any mistakes. If you can put the game on his shoulders, I think the Pack can win this one.
Got a couple more comments here. Derek says the 49ers quarterback will lose the game. And Terrence is even with
and that's what I'm saying.
And Terrence is even
put
with
it on
that.
Garoppolo.
He says the Packers by 7.
By 7. That's if the Packers win this, I don't think it's by 7. I don't love the passing game for the Packers. I love Devontae Adams. Outside of that, Jimmy Graham's old and washed up. He makes a couple clutch plays once in a while. But Aaron Rodgers has never really thrown to tight ends anyway. Aaron Rodgers loves throwing to the outside receivers. He loves throwing to the guys that can make stuff happen after the catch. I just don't love any of the other options behind Devontae Adams. Guys like Valdez-Scantling. Guys like Equanimeous St. Brown. And I know they've been in and out for the past couple of years. I've been pounding the bar for years, saying the Packers need to get more weapons. And I think this is where they finally have that come to roost a little bit.
Yeah, I
know they needed a defense too, but
they believed in a draft a few years back where they went out and got all these guys, and they're still assuming that those guys are going to pan out. But I think it's kind of the writings on the wall. Could you imagine what this team would be like right now if it had 1 or 2 more receiving weapons?
And I think they like Geronimo Allison. I think they like Valdez-Scantling. I mean, even Equanimeous St. Brown is one of those guys that they're like, one of these 3 can turn into our next number 2 wide receiver, and we don't have to spend a big pick or a lot of money in free agency to bring another receiver in. But I think if they had, if this was Golden Tate on this team, I would say the Packers are going to win this game.
Yeah. I got a couple more comments here. Tom says Kansas City 39, Titans 27. I think that score's realistic. I hope that the teams on each end of that score stay the same.
I think there are points in this one. Even though I know playoff football usually tends to trend downward because, again, the refs like to let the players play. And when they let the players play, the defenses like to get on everybody. I didn't point at any fingers, okay?
Let's admit one thing. Tannehill's going to have to throw more than 100 yards.
Here's the thing. He threw 160 or 170, and they beat him the first time. I don't know that it has to be 300. It's got to be efficient yards.
I'm not even wanting 300. I'm just saying like he's going to have to throw more than he's been throwing.
So 140, 150? Like, where do I have to meet you here to get this win? A couple more of these comments. Justin says, the corner opposite of Sherman looked horrible last week. He's looking for a few deep shots down the field from Rodgers to MVS, which haven't really seen in a while. I'm not saying they can't take those shots. I know LaFleur likes to play a more conservative offense where he runs the ball, they control the clock. I don't think this is the team you try to, just outmuscle. I think the shots are much more likely, kind of like you said. The question is, can they find the success there? Because as much as we like and trust Aaron Rodgers, he's a great quarterback. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
it's real easy that when you're trying to force those deep passes to make mistakes. We saw Drew Brees do it in the first week against the Vikings.
Yeah. Tom, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it, and we will keep on working hard. Terrence, by the way, Tom says he loves this site, and you two guys
and B
are
says
doing
he loves you too, by the way.
says,
after the Patriot, bar beat the
I know
Raiders.
Bees loves me. I'm not worried about that. Thanks, Bees. Tom says, I love this site. You two are doing a great job. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Terrence says, the Ravens and the Patriots underestimated the Titans. The Chiefs won't. And I'll agree with you, Terrence, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because we lost to them. That's honestly the best way to put it.
I think that definitely helps them.
I know as a Chiefs fan, and I know I live in the Nashville area, but that game still has a bitter taste in my mouth. Well, it has a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you guys outplayed us, but realistically, the game ended because of poor plays by some of our players.
A couple mental mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that you can't always count on that. I think the Titans will have to play a little bit better than they did. I hope Adam Humphries can play in this one, the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown in the first game. He's been out pretty much since then. Although, let me throw an interesting stat, and for all you Chiefs fans, you'll love to hear this. Last year, and I bring this up all the time, the Titans beat the Patriots in the regular season, blew them out 34-10, right?
Yeah.
After that, the Patriots did not lose a single game, won the Super Bowl. Titans beat the Chiefs in week, 12, 11 this year?
Something like 10?
10, right around the same area. Chiefs have not lost a game since then. They're on track, Drew. I'm just saying, history has a way of repeating itself. If it happens, all I can say is the Titans know how to pick Super Bowl winners. They're the last team to beat them. Just one of those ESPN stats for you. Does that matter tomorrow? No. Does it matter next week if they make, or 2 weeks from now when they make it to the Super Bowl, or if they make it to the Super Bowl? I'm really hoping if, and
no,
not.
They will.
But
they will. Don't worry.
But it's just it's interesting to know that
it is.
Again, the Titans have had this kind of record where if you put your faith in any of those kind of stats, it's out there.
Right. And I know everyone and the Titans have always kind of had Kansas City's number when it comes to games during postseason and regular season, but this everyone feels it. I know Chiefs fans feel it. This is a different team than we've ever, in my opinion, brought in to the postseason. Even last year, we looked really good, but I kind of had my blinders on in a sense where I was just like, you can't get too invested. Mm-hmm. This is year one with Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's great we're making the AFC Championship. Should have won it.
Well, to be fair,
but
we were also
this year, I was like, this is the year.
Yeah, it's got to be now.
And now, looking at it, I'm like, this, especially after that victory last week. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you go down 24-0, my whole household was, you could hear crickets.
Doom and gloom, right?
You got to be kidding me. I'm sitting there praying, like, just score a touchdown. Like, don't go 0 on the scoreboard for us when we lose this game. This is exactly what we kind of needed. It's kind of a wake-up call where it's like, don't sleep on teams.
We still have to play for another couple weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree. I
couldn't say we had that victory last year going into the postseason or even in the postseason last year.
Yeah, it was a lot smoother sailing last year.
Absolutely,
I definitely agree with that. As for this game, I'm going to read a couple more of these comments, but my final thought, I think, before, obviously, we'll give your pick. You're taking the Titans, right?
Yes, yeah. Could you tell? I'm wearing my baby blue, right?
Yeah, underneath. That way, when things go poorly, you just pull the hoodie off.
I'll be one of those guys in the crowd. Yeah, that's me.
Perfect. In this game, is there anything you could see out of Kansas City that you would say maybe we're not on the right track to be right back next year? Is there something that, does Kansas City have that glaring hole? Or is there something that can happen? Because, I think you could have made the argument last game where if they would have lost and if the Texans would have blown them out and they scored those 24 points right off the bat because of a bunch of mental mistakes, I think you could point the finger at Andy Reid. You could have said, this guy doesn't have him prepared. And we talked about that.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. We had, 5, 6 drops? I mean, right off the bat. Those third downs and fourth downs would have been converted if those catches would have happened. Mm-hmm. They obviously didn't happen. So, yeah, I think there is a mental kind of issue there that the players weren't ready, and that is absolutely onto the head coach because it's his job and his responsibility to have these guys prepared to play. And let's give Andy Reid all the credit in the world. After the bye week, his record is one of the best.
Thanks. And Bill O'Brien only helped to make that better by faking punts on his own 30. But yeah.
But I do think that's an issue. And this, the feel-good story at this point for the whole NFL, and I know I'm a Chiefs fan, is Andy Reid wins one. He gets that monkey off his back. You can never win it, Andy Reid. You get him there, you're almost there.
Well, what I'm saying is there something that could happen to the Chiefs that you're saying something needs to change?
But my point,
we need to drastically fix what's going on with Kansas City.
I don't think there's any team in the NFL right now that has 100% of their roster 100%. Meaning, I like our defensive line to have more rotation into it. The fact that Chris Jones is hurt and we're like, oh, God, what are we going to do?
What? Yes.
That's an issue. I'd like my linebacking core to be able to cover a little bit better. That's the reason why I brought in Lee. And Lee's banged up. He's not playing. We don't have another coverage linebacker. There's issues there in Kansas City. So, if this year doesn't work out, there's plenty of draft picks that we could use to make our team better for the 2020 season.
Martavius is taking the Packers by 2, and Rob says Aaron Jones, he's throwing some shade here, I think, but I don't know. Well, I want to get your opinion here. Aaron Jones is the best back in the playoffs this year. Will he run? Will he block? Will he go out for a pass? The man is a beast. All I can say is, have you seen Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Respectfully, have you seen what Derrick Henry's done? And I'm not throwing shade. I like Aaron Jones. I've loved the draft pick. I've thought he's been better than Jamal Williams since they've had him. I think they should have given him the ball from the get-go. He should have been the 60 to 70% of the carries kind of guy and touches kind of guy, and Jamal Williams should have been his backup. They kind of wait, I can't say that on the air. They kind of didn't know what they were going to do and have kind of waffled back and forth a little bit with their running backs. But I can't say Aaron Jones has been the best running back in this playoffs. I don't know that he's been better than Damian Williams. Did you see Damian Williams last week? 3 touchdowns? Yeah. I like Aaron Jones. I respect Aaron Jones, but he's got some stiff competition. That's all I can say.
Yeah, when you look at what's left on the board, maybe third? Maybe? And I'm actually putting.
And that's only because the 49ers used 3 of them.
I'm actually putting him above Damian Williams. I like Damian Williams. I think I've been saying this all year long.
I do too. But
he's the best back we have, and we don't utilize him properly. But it seems like we are now with McCoy's illness. I still can't. The best? I don't know.
He definitely hasn't played the best. And here's my point.
Now, talent-wise,
game to game, you can't tell me that Jamal Williams hasn't played better games than Aaron Jones. There's weeks where Aaron Jones is just shut out. Jamal Williams has to come in and do the work. And that's good. That's fine. That's what everybody's trying to do in the NFL. Everybody wants that 2-back set where I don't need to lean on one guy. I don't need to be the Titans. We don't have to give Derrick Henry 33 carries and hope the body holds up for the next 4 weeks. That's obviously, I think the most optimal way to win in the Super Bowl. But you can't say he's been the best. Objectively, you can't say he's been the best, and that's it's not. It doesn't mean he's bad. It doesn't mean he's played poorly. He's done well.
Yeah.
But all I can say is you may like him the best. That doesn't mean he's played the best.
Well, I'm gonna scroll up. I would like to read Bill's comment. He said, "Titans stunned Kansas City 35-31." He's already throwing stats out there. He says Henry will run for 158 yards. Tannehill will throw for 326 yards. Brown will have 2 TDs, 2 over 40 yards. He says, copy this prediction.
I love it, Bill. I love the optimism.
And just so you know, Ken, Dad, Bill is wanting brisket, I think. It was either brisket or pulled pork. He says if he predicts it right, he expects you to have that smoker running so he can win his award.
Sounds like we need to have a beer bet in the comments on who wins this game. Loser buys the brisket. But here's what I'll say. I like those stats. I think if the Titans are going to win this, it needs to look more like Derrick Henry 212. Again, Kansas City has been better in run defense, especially towards the back half of the season. But like you said, everybody knows you want to come in here and run the ball on them. If they're going to, I think Derrick Henry's got to put up more than 158. As crazy as that sounds, they're not going to be trying to throw for 320 yards with Ryan Tannehill. If they score some points, the only way we get that stat line, I think, Bill, is if Mahomes throws for another 443 yards and the game winds up 35-32 or 40-38 or something like that.
Your third down conversion rating has to be extremely high. That's the best way to put it. Of course, you're facing the number 1 third down converting team.
Titans were up there. They were like 4th or 5th.
Yeah,
not bad.
We were like 54%, and it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7% higher than the next person.
What was your defense's third down percentage? How often did they stop people?
That doesn't matter.
Less high,
because,
right?
Wait.
That's important in this game.
We had, like, what was it, like the 17th rated defense or something like that?
Didn't you say it was? Did you say it was in the 20s?
Leaps and bounds.
Did you say last week you were in the 20s?
No, 26 on the run defense.
Was that what it was?
Total defense were like 17, 16.
Okay.
Leaps and bounds of what we were last year.
It's exciting.
It is.
Isn't it nice having a great defense? The most complete defense in the NFL.
We used to have one.
Yeah, I know. But those days are gone. Anyway, I'll say this, Bill. I love the optimism. I don't know that I think Tannehill to win this game, if I'm going to give you my prediction, it's going to be 220. I think he'll throw 220 yards, and everyone will be like, is this guy really even that good? But then Derrick Henry's going to rush for almost 200. And then, regardless of where the touchdowns wind up, I think the Titans are going to score 5 of them if they win it. I think the Titans are going to score 35 points. I think the Chiefs are going to score like 32, 33 to get this points for the Titans to get this win. I really see that.
Bill said both, so you got to have pulled pork and brisket going on that smoker, Dad. I'm sorry. Real quickly here, sorry.
And Justin, Packers fan, is keeping it real, says Henry is definitely the better back. Again, everybody does everything different. If I got a guy going out there to catch a pass, give me Aaron Jones, because Henry does not have great hands down the field. Well, I'm saying, Derrick Henry's not the guy to do that.
Or Jamal Williams, for that matter.
Everybody has their role, but if there's somebody that I need to get like 2 yards...
Actually, Chiefs fans all know that Jamal Williams has hands. That's how they beat us the last time we played them.
Even more than that, I'd say, if you need a guy to break a 70-yard rushing touchdown, I think Derrick Henry's the guy for that.
The guy,
But if you need a guy that, again, can come in and catch a good pass and run,
and probably
Aaron Jones is a good back,
probably
too.
The second guy in that would probably be Damian Williams. Every time he's been able to break it for a long gain, it's been a touchdown. Terrence, by the way, says that 5 fumbles this year, talking about Derrick Henry. He thinks that he has fat fingers and will lose a few, and he's questioning Bill's comment with Tannehill for 300 yards.
5 fumbles, but look at the number of carries. When you're talking about giving this guy 20 to 30 carries a game, and he's the only feature back, you're going to have some fumbles. Everybody fumbles. I mean, you could get that. You could have it where Henry fumbles a couple times here, but
he's a little touchy about that subject. Okay.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying like
what? Those 5 fumbles?
Well, I mean, if it was Damian Williams,
500 carries for 5 fumbles.
Well, if it was Damian Williams and you have him in there for 30-40% of the snaps when you're trying to work McCoy in there and he fumbled 5 times, maybe you're like, oh, this is kind of worrying. But when it's all Derrick Henry from week 1 to what are we in? Week 19?
Still doesn't learn his lesson. God. There's a whole career of him doing that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he carried 30% of the Titans' carries and fumbled 5 times, I'd say, yeah, you know what, you're right. But he's carrying like 90% of them, and his 90% is more than like any other team in the league outside of Seattle. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. Again, you're going to have fumbles. Everybody fumbles over time. But that number doesn't worry me when a guy's carried it as many times as Derrick Henry has. What worries me more is Derrick Henry's carried the ball so much that is he going to hold up through this game? And what if he does get through it? Is 2 weeks going to be enough to go and face someone like San Fran or the Packers who have good defenses and have carried the ball this many times? Like, when do you break? When's the breaking point?
Terrence says it only takes one to change the momentum. Terrence, you're 100% right. But if you look at the last few games, it's Kansas City who's actually had a problem with turning the ball over right now. So, ooh.
And the Titans have had a problem with not being able to generate those. But in the playoffs, they have.
Yeah.
Everything's trending up, Drew. I'm telling you. The signs are all there on the wall.
Both of our teams, the Titans and the Chiefs, have all have gotten better through the postseason. There's no doubt about it. Kansas City's defense is playing so much better.
Yes.
Your guys' offense and your defense has been playing a lot better.
The defense woke up. I mean, the back half of the season wasn't great for the Titans' defense, but they woke up in the playoffs.
And it'd be interesting to see what Kansas City does and what their plan is to stop the run, because when you go back and look at that Texans game, when the game started, it was all our big men up front. You know, you got Williams in there, you got Saunders in there, and then all of a sudden, all those guys got put out after the first quarter, and then you saw a Passanio inside and other more defensive end style players playing in the middle. So it'd be interesting to see what Andy Reid and the defensive coordinators defensive side of the ball decides to put up against Derrick Henry. It's definitely going to be a heck of a game. Let me just tell you this: if Kansas City thinks they're going to put 8 in the box, Lord, please just give me a break and let Kansas City win by some kind of crazy fumble. Derrick Henry breaks his leg. Never wish injuries upon anybody, but don't try to stop him like that. It doesn't work.
Mahomes breaks his back.
Historically, that does not work to stop Derrick Henry.
How terrible would that be? Chiefs win the game, but Mahomes gets hurt. Like, and vice versa. Titans win the game, but Derrick Henry's out, and you're going into next week like, now what?
Go Matt Moore, buddy.
You beat the Vikings. You could do it again. Or you could beat the 49ers. Bill says he says best sports show on the internet, breaking off to share with his Facebook friends. Bill, man, we appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
That's why we do what we do. it really helps a lot when you guys share, so we appreciate that, each and every one of them. If we haven't thanked you personally, again, just know that it means a lot to us.
It really honestly does. I know personally, and I know I don't want to speak for you. Each one of your guys' comments literally means the world to us, and this isn't always about us, but we appreciate that you take the time out of your day to talk sports with us. I want to remind everyone about that Sports Around the Bar, not only is it for us a chance to talk about a sport and any sport that we all love, it's about you guys being part of the media and being able to talk and speak what you want to talk about as well.
We don't want to get up here and pontificate. We don't want to be like these other sports shows where we just say some outlandish stuff to get people talking and we don't even read the comments. We just leave the bomb, say something ridiculous, and get out of there. We want to hear from you. We want to read. The reason we do this is so we can have these conversations with you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for everything you do. The show is better, and we say this, and I don't want it to be cliche, but the show is better because you're here talking with us.
No doubt.
Okay, I need to reload. I need more beer. After all that sap, after all that love, and now that we've hugged everybody, I need another beer, and what I want you to talk about, I want you to read this LT comment. I want to hear from you. I'll read it, and then I want you to respond.
Okay.
Rob says, if Derrick Henry met Lawrence Taylor in the hole, who would win?
Okay. Obviously, Henry's in his prime. LT in his prime literally terrified offensive players. I think Henry has that. I think where there's definitely showed that in late in the game that all defensive players really honestly don't want to tackle this guy. But LT literally generated fear in every offensive coordinator, coach, player when he was out on the field. It's got to be LT. It's got to be.
I do want to respond to that, but first, Mark says it's 1 a.m. there in the UK, but he's loving our show. He says he hopes the Chiefs can go all the way this year. Let me just say, Mark, you were this close. All you had to say was Titans instead of Chiefs, man, and I would have said that was the best comment we've had on the show ever. Not only you watch us at 1 a.m. in another country,
like I've been saying,
you just picked wrong. It's multiple choice. I'm going to give you 2 chances. You can switch.
Like I've been saying over and over and over again. When I talk to you, I said Mike McCarthy is one of the smartest people we have on the show.
Chiefs Kingdom, as big as the United Kingdom now, apparently.
Good.
The sun never sets on the Chiefs Kingdom, apparently.
We bleed red, buddy.
Ugh.
You poke me, it's red.
Red menace, more like. All right. Good to see you, though. As for the LT comment, I think Derrick Henry would get tackled the first time, and he'd get tackled the second time, and he'd get tackled the third time, and maybe the fourth time he'd get a little bit more, and the fifth time he'd get a little bit more, and then by the 22nd time, he's blowing LT up. Because guess what the Titans are doing? The thing I can say about Derrick Henry that's impressed me the most, and it might be because he's young and the Titans haven't really used him to this point. This is his 4th year in the league, and he doesn't have a 4-year running or 4th-year running backs kind of work on him yet.
And realistically, all the way up till maybe half of last year, he shared the load.
It essentially was the last 4 games. They were trying to get David Fluellen, a guy nobody's ever heard of, the starting spot over Derrick Henry because they didn't like the way he was playing. And to be fair, he wasn't a great player. He was hesitating too much behind the line. Had a talk with Eddie George, also former Titan running back, great one at that. And he told him, look, man, you got to change your game up. And he did. He stopped hesitating. Now all of a sudden it's go get what you can get. Go, just take what's there. And now that he's doing that, Derrick Henry from basically week 12 last season has changed into a different guy. And I missed the boat. I'll be the first guy that was like, I don't know that this lasts. In the offseason, I said it was a great 4 weeks, but guys have great 4 weeks in the NFL all the time. I said, I don't know that I love Derrick Henry. I told someone not to take him in fantasy, and man, did I swing and a miss. Anytime you tell someone not to take the leading rusher in football, you missed.
You messed up. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been incredibly impressed with his growth.
I'm right there with you. I was also one of those guys that didn't believe in Derrick Henry. When they went out and got Dion Lewis from the Patriots, I said, Vrabel is going to try to run this offense just like Belichick does, which it's going to be running back by committee. Mm-hmm. The best thing, and you can say whatever you want, but in my opinion, the best thing Vrabel ever did as a head coach was go, we no longer share the rock. It's Derrick Henry's ball, and he moves forward. And if
fumble once and Vrabel's like, you're dead to me, and that's exactly what happened to Dion Lewis.
I don't even think it was that. I just think it was the success of Henry.
And Lewis was unsuccessful for a while when they were giving him like 20-some carries a game, and the offensive line wasn't good. And this was before Derrick Henry found his spurt. And this was all last season, kind of like we talked about. and they were like, "You're just not a good player." If my biggest criticism of Mike Vrabel so far has been he gives up on people too early. Guy named Nick Williams, receiver you've never heard of, I've never heard of. Titans had him on the roster for a couple weeks. We played Buffalo last season. Makes a massive punt return when the team has no offense with Mariota. Drops a pass that would have won the game. They cut him right after the game. There is no second chances here. Deion Lewis struggled in the running game, and they're like, "You're dead to us. You're the redheaded stepchild. We don't love you anymore." Sorry for all those redheaded stepchildren out there, but it's one of those things that this is an offense that has no forgiveness. It's you're either performing or you're in my doghouse. And whether you can say that works or whether it doesn't, whether that's the Patriot way or it isn't, that's how it works in Tennessee right now. And Derrick Henry, to his credit, was in that doghouse and finally got his second chance and made the most of it and absolutely dominated since then. So,
yeah,
I'm not crazy about that. I don't love that philosophy, but
I got 2 comments here. Jimmy says Packers might as well just win it all, dudes. Back it up, man. Back it up, Jimmy. Why do you think that they should win it all? What tells me?
Let me say this. You got a tough game this week, and then you got to get through one of us. Okay.
Tell me what makes you think that they should win it all. Jeremy, good to see you. He said, "Let's be real. Who has Kansas City beat in the playoffs?" Well, they didn't play the Niners, so they might have beat them in our heads. But no, you're right. We lost the Packers, we lost the Titans, but go back and look at those games. We didn't get blown out. We fought hard
Matt
on
Moore
all.
played in one of them.
And Matt Moore played in one of them, and a limping Patrick Mahomes played in the other.
But he threw for 443 yards.
That's
my point is like, and
could
this
you
was your point. Hold
imagine?
on, we're flipping the tables because at the time I was like, rest him. Why play him? He might still be hurt. And you were like, he's fine. He's fine. They should play him. No excuses.
I didn't say
and they
he
did.
was
And he
fine.
throws for 440 yards. You totally did.
I said
you totally.
I
did.
said an 80% Patrick Mahomes is better than 100% Matt Moore. That's what I said.
I think you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
And again, an 80% Patrick Mahomes threw for 400 yards. Could you imagine if he was healthy? He'd have thrown for 550 yards.
Okay, let's predict. Are you ready to predict?
I'm ready.
Packers and 49ers. Actually, let's talk about it a little bit again. We've kind of gone back and forth. We really haven't stuck to any kind of structure in the show because we're terrible at this.
There's structure?
As you can tell. There used to be.
You told me there was going to be no structure in this show.
Once upon a time there was. But now, we've kind of gone back and forth in these games. What I want to talk about with this Packers and 49ers game. Yes, we all know Aaron Rodgers is great, but it hasn't been about Aaron Rodgers. I think for them to win this game, it's got to be about Aaron Rodgers because I don't see Aaron Jones succeeding here, not against this defensive line. And it's not a slam on him. I think he's a great running back. He'll be great for you going forward. I'd really like it if they got the offensive line a little bit better because they're a good pass blocking line. They're not quite there in the run blocking situation. I want to see some bigger, meaner faces in this offensive line. Love their tackles. Outside of that, I'm not as big. I mean, Elton Jenkins, I like the draft pick. I want to see him improve for the Packers. What needs to happen for the Packers to win this game? I know you kind of posed the question to Jimmy before. What needs to happen is Aaron Rodgers needs to go out and just outshoot this 49ers team. He needs to go and put points on the board. He needs to stun them, and he needs to have them out of their game plan and not running the ball by the second quarter. Because if you let this team lean into you and you let this defense get tired and everybody gets worn out in that front seven, it's over. In my opinion, it's over. This team is too good, and it's just too much of a juggernaut. They're big, they're physical, they're mean. You can't let them wear down your pass rushers. You can't let them wear down your defense. This has to be the quick jump out for the Packers to win this. I need 17 points by midway through the second quarter. It needs to be 17-3. You got to get them out of the game plan, out of the rhythm where they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, I've kind of already talked a little bit about it, and I'm running the same boat as you, that 17 overall offense that the Packers are bringing in the postseason needs to be a top 5 offense. They need to be 100% going on all cylinders, everyone playing aboard. I won't harp on that. You kind of already did. I think you got to pick your poison on defense. You got to decide what's important to you to stop. If it's the run game and that's like you're dominating, hey, I'm going to stop the run game, going to make it throw, then that's the poison you're dealing with. Or you're like, I'm going to stop the passing game. George Kittle, who is arguably one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in the league. Guys, I love Kelsey. Don't ever make you think that, but Kelsey's getting a little old. George is younger.
Kelsey was the greatest tight end in the league. I think he's second now. And I think Ertz is third.
Anyways, going forward, you got to pick your poison. You got to be able to stop one of these things. If it's Kittle, which I would honestly think that'd probably be your best option, is to stop him first and then worry about the run game second, then do it. They got to decide what they're doing, and they got to take it completely out of the game. This is obviously a huge Belichick move. That's exactly why, you see the Patriots win so many games, is because Belichick's like, I'm going to take your best weapon and take it away from you, and you got to beat me somewhere else. It's a copycat league. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to decide what you're taking out and make that your option. Like, you will not have Kittle open. He'll be consistently covered. You got to run the ball on us. Problem is, the 49ers do both those things really well. They air out the ball pretty well to Kittle and to Emmanuel Sanders and everybody else in there, and they also run the ball really well too. There's a reason why they were the top 5 offense this year.
Now, Jeremy says, let's be real. Who has Kansas City beaten in the playoffs? Houston. And they beat the Ravens in the regular season, and they beat the Patriots in the regular season. They've beaten good teams. I'm not sure where you're going with this one, Jeremy. I understand you're like, who have they beaten in the playoffs? Let me say this. They've beaten the only team they've played. They've been on a bye. So they don't have the resume that the Titans have, but that's because they're good, and they don't have to play those games. They finished second in the AFC, so they get their bye, and then they get to play a weaker team when that comes to them. That's just the way it works. Also, Texans beat the Titans week 15 when the Titans needed to win. Yeah. So I don't think it's fair to say that the Texans aren't any good, because that's one of the 4 teams that could find a way to beat Kansas City in the regular season. That's not a bad win. I mean, that's a playoff team. Anyone you beat now is a good win, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you. William.
Couple more. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
William, good to see you, says Chiefs are going all this way this year. I hope so, man. I hope so. And Tom says George Kittle is one badass dude.
Yeah, that doesn't make your guy any worse to admit that somebody else is great, right? And I know, that's what I'm saying.
I bleed red if you poke me. There's no doubt about it.
But man, this guy's special in San Fran, right?
He's just getting a little bit older. You can see it. I hope
we see it on Sunday.
I know all Chiefs fans can admit this with me. It used to be Kelsey catches the ball, breaks 2 or 3 tackles, and then gets tackled. It's now Kelsey gets caught, and by God's grace, he might be able to break 1 tackle. But he's just not.
He leans into it, right? They tackle him, but he leans into it.
But he's just not the way it is.
Yeah.
But you cannot deny it. The guy's still a stud. He can catch the ball. He can get open. He runs routes better than almost anybody. But Kittle's just young, Kit's just the way you put it. Kittle's a little bit better.
Yeah, and Nate says, pretty sure Elton Jenkins hasn't given up a sack all year. Yes, but I was talking about run blocking. Again, the Packers have run the ball at times, but they've been shut down as well. Elton Jenkins, even though he hasn't given up a sack, I want to see him improve in the running game, because this was supposed to be the most complete. And if you go back and watch our draft special, I said this is the most complete interior offensive lineman in the game.
You did.
His running game and his running effect in the run game has not been as good as the passing. And sure, not giving up a sack is good. Yeah. Not always winning doesn't mean that, or you can not win and not give up a sack. Again, if you give up a pressure, it's almost the same thing. Elton Jenkins has been good, but I want to see an improvement in the run game. I want to see him get bigger and stronger, because that's what rookies do. Rookie offensive linemen especially. What you see at the beginning isn't what you're going to see going forward. Green Bay needs to improve getting bigger and stronger in this offensive line. I think he's the best example of that. Yeah. I still like Bakhtiari. I still like Balaga that Jimmy said is going to be huge in this game. Everyone's going to be huge, because everyone on this defensive line is a massive talent.
Brian's not 100%.
Yes, but everyone on your offensive line is going to be huge, because it can be D Ford, it can be Armstead, it can be I'm drawing a blank, Solomon Thomas. It could be, like I said, I'm drawing a blank on some of these names.
D Ford,
Bosa. I said Ford. What's the other D tackle? They have so many guys I can't even remember them all. How about that?
Buckner.
Yes, DeForest Buckner. Anyone on this line can beat you, and when they do, they're going to be after Aaron Rodgers and disrupting the play. Even though Aaron Rodgers is great on the move, he's only getting older. That's going to start to go away. The question is going to be, what can we see out of the run game? Can they beat those guys in the running attack? Because till now, they've done it some games, against some of the weaker teams especially, but they have not been a dominant run group. You haven't seen Aaron Jones assert his dominance every week, because the offensive line's blowing everyone off the ball. It's just not what happened. It's just not what's happening. Now they have to face arguably the best defensive line in football now.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Chris, good to see you, man. I don't know if you said hi to Chris or not.
No, good to see you, Chris.
Tom says he lives in California. Can he send me a Kansas City cereal box? Man, I fought...
Well, isn't one enough? Isn't one enough?
I fought tooth and nail for this box, man. This is the only box I got. I live in the Nashville area, so... They weren't selling these here. Trust me, man. If I could, I would, but I don't have another one.
All jokes aside, you want to send us any kind of memorabilia you want to be on the bar, we'll put it up here.
Well, he was asking for us to send it to him.
Oh, send it to him? Oh, yes. Yes, we can do that. We can definitely ship this bad boy out of here because, man,
that's not
it's
happening.
time for it to move
That's
back.
not happening.
A couple more. Chris White, good to see you, man. He says Green Bay has to slow down the run game and lock Kittle down in the red zone. Yes, but like we talked about, easier said than done, right? I mean, I think the easiest way to slow down the run game isn't with your defense, but with your offense. Score some points and do it quick and do it early and try to trick them into you don't need to run anymore. You need to throw to catch back up because I think teams get away from their run game early enough in the playoffs. I think that's what Baltimore did last week. They said, oh, man, Mark Ingram's hurt and we're behind 14 points to the Titans. Let's never run again. And bad things happened. I think that's exactly what Green Bay needs to do. I think Baltimore could have kept running. I think even if you're down 21-3, you can keep running. If it's working, you can keep doing it. I think Green Bay needs to score points. They got to do it early because that's the best way to shut out this 49ers run game. It's not to. There's nothing the defense is going to do for 4 quarters. I think that's going to take this run game out of it.
Well, I don't know where you at. Did you do Chris's?
I did Chris right there.
Okay.
Haven't done this one, Justin. If you want to read it. Haven't done anything else. Just Chris is on this.
Justin says that the screen game needs to be successful. And Jenkins is like 1 of 4 of 5 guards with 500 snaps, not allowed to sack.
Again, we're talking about the pass game. When I said they need to do better.
Draft pick.
Like I said, go back and watch my draft coverage. Or go back and watch our draft coverage. I told you this is the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. Okay? I love the pick for Green Bay. I sung all the praises for it. I said, this is the guy. But I said he needs to be better in the run game because there's times where he's beaten in the run game. The run game and the pass game are different. You're blocking differently. He's been an amazing pass blocker. I'm all for that. But you're not beating this 49ers team just by throwing the ball. I would like to see Aaron Jones have some success. I don't think it happens, and I think that's going to be a part of the problem because you're going to get DeForest Buckner. You're going to get Solomon Thomas leaning on this guy. They're interior offensive linemen, and they're not going to move. Is the problem. And when you don't create those running lanes, the run game doesn't go anywhere. That's what my problem is. I like the draft pick, okay, guys? I like Elton Jenkins. How else can I say it? I how many more times do I need to pound the great offensive interior pick?
Sticking with the offensive line, Jimmy says, when healthy, the Packers have a top 3 offensive line in the league. Well, the problem is, Jimmy, is no one's healthy right
Ravens,
now.
Cowboys, Colts.
The problem is no one's healthy right now.
Not top 3.
No one has a healthy offensive line. Even if all 5 stars are still playing, they're banged up. It's too late in the season. Everyone's a little banged up. And you also have to admit...
That doesn't make them bad.
You also have to admit that the 49ers defensive line has made every offensive line look weak at some point in time. There's too many draft picks, too much talent, and too much money put into that defensive line to make any offensive line sit there and stop them completely.
And that also wasn't in order. That also wasn't in order. But I'm saying 3 lines that can both run and pass block just amazingly well. All 3 of those teams have a better offensive line than the Packers, and I can name them off the top of my head. That doesn't make them bad. I think the Packers, especially pass blocking wise, are one of the best groups in football, and that's important when you've got a 35-year-old quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. That's what you want to see.
Right.
But this is becoming more of a running team. You need some hog mollies. You need some guys that if you're going to run Matt LaFleur's offense, which apparently leans on the running backs, he did it in Tennessee, he's done it in Green Bay. You need to win in the run game more consistently. That's why Green Bay struggled in these games. They were 13-3, but some of them it was like against the Redskins.
That's the reason why him and Aaron Rodgers didn't get along very well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there's a reason, like some of these games against the Redskins, you didn't just dominate them and just blow them out of the water because I don't think they were able to run block in the manner that Matt LaFleur, your new offensive play caller, wants to play. And that's okay. Like Elton Jenkins is going to get better over time. Obviously, Brian Balaga's been around. I don't know, 8-9 years now. He's been around for a long time. Eventually, you're going to have to replace him.
Yeah, he's had a pretty banged up season.
All I'm saying is Green Bay, weapons first. That's exactly what I'm saying. But I'd like to see some improvement in the run blocking game, or they're going to struggle like they are going to in this game.
Got a couple more comments if you want to stroll down.
Absolutely, yeah. A couple more of these. Chris says the Packers can't stop the run or the 49ers offensive front. That's what I'm saying. The best way to do it, put some points on the board. Put some points up early and trick the 49ers into we can't run anymore. Because when you do that and you become one-dimensional, I think the Packers can feast on them because this defense is set up to rush the passer still. That's the optimal situation for them.
No doubt. Adam says he believes this is a year that the Chiefs are finally going to be champs. Everything has been setting up in the favor of that.
We already gave them the Titans stat, right? Where
I
they
can
beat the Patriots, then they went undefeated. Beat
Only
the Chiefs. Now they've been undefeated to
only
this
hope
point.
because when I come in here, I'm gonna bloat that win all over you. I will.
I know.
I will be. Does it sound weird? It
You'll
sounded
never.
weird.
It sounded weird.
It wasn't.
I don't
meant
think
to
that's
be
the
weird.
expression, but that's okay.
Oh, it will be bloating going on. Let me tell you that right now.
The only thing bloating will be your head. I don't know how else in the room.
Well, my head's pretty big, but it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get huge.
If the Chiefs win, what am I going to do? I think I'll take a vacation. Probably for like 3 or 4 months. I'm going to take a hiatus.
Hey, this is Sports
I'm just
Around the
gonna
Bar.
try to-
As you can tell, I'm Drew. I'm by myself.
Hey, let's talk about how the Chiefs won the Super Bowl for the 12th straight week in a row. No, man, there's nothing wrong with celebrating it. Again, comes around a couple times in a lifetime.
It
If
does.
one of our teams get it,
Never
more power to
I've
it.
never even seen the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in my life, so that right there would be just a miracle of its own.
Absolutely. Also, Justin says, Seattle was half a yard from beating the Niners 3 weeks ago. Divisional game. That's always different. Packers handled them pretty well last week. This game is going to be a good and close game. Also, you got to remember, Seattle had like no living running backs. I'm pretty sure Marshawn Lynch was the ghost.
I mean, he definitely looked like he's put on a few pounds, that's for sure. That flak jacket he was wearing was pretty stretched out.
And Justin says he agrees on the run blocking. Yes, but we're nitpicking here. I'm not saying the Packers are bad because of it, but we're talking about like this game against this defensive line. What is going to be a problem? This offensive line is going to have a hard time run blocking. And if they win it, I'm going to come in here on Sunday and be like, did you see that? Because they shouldn't. They definitely should not win in that kind of matchup.
I'm right there with you, man. I actually think that the Packers had the least chance to win these matchups, and that's even. I obviously I'm a huge Chiefs fan, but I think the Titans have a chance to win. When I look at the Packers against
Chris agrees, actually.
When I look at the Niners again and the Packers, I get nervous for your Packers fans. You're talking about. I joke about Kansas City being the most complete team, but there's no doubt about it. The Niners have been one of the most complete teams all season long.
Yeah, and who called it? Not us. Not anybody.
No.
Almost nobody.
Niners fans.
Some Niners fans. They're
Yeah.
like, we're getting there. The only thing I said is eventually Kyle Shanahan will be great with his team.
I did say it
And
last year.
That's what they
I did say it last
Yeah.
year, and I, you guys go back in the shows, but I said, man, could you imagine if Jimmy G was healthy right now?
You know what else we said? Kyle Shanahan's going to turn this around.
Yeah, we did. Mm-hmm.
And we're just now seeing that. I still don't love John Lynch, and that's not a slam on 49ers fans. I still don't like the way they just, if you have any talent at all, we're going to throw the paybook at, or we're going to throw a check at you. But at the end of the day, it's got him this far. So I guess I need to shut up about John Lynch, don't I? Right?
Yeah, kind of. But
Damian says, he hates to say this, but this year's Super Bowl will be rigged for the Chiefs and the Packers. He says, common sense. Why do y'all think that Fox and the NFL have been promoting so many State Farm commercials for the Super Bowl? He's just saying. They're doing it because State Farm's giving them the money. I don't know.
A lot of money.
I'll reserve my judgment. How about that? If I watch these games and it's a yellow flag fest, maybe I'll give something to it.
If it's blatant or it's just like, man, they're giving every call to Kansas City, every call to the Packers, I'll agree with you, Damian.
He'll never agree with it because he's the Kansas City fan.
That is so not true, and you know that.
He's never going to admit the Kansas City.
You're the one that tried. Okay,
this is not going to happen. You will never come out here and say Kansas City got handed a game.
Oh man! Don't even try
in
to.
This
don't
kind of
e-
situation.
Don't even
you want
try.
to tell me that's going to happen?
You might sit there and say that you've always been honest about your team, but when it comes to favoritism, you will definitely favor your team.
Well, I am this week.
And I do the same thing.
I am this week. I know.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, but
You're
one
not
thing
gonna come
we
out and say the Chiefs.
always agree on is where the refs land, and I have been honest with it, and you've been honest with it.
You have. Okay. Maybe that was too much of a dig against you.
Okay.
Let me say this. It's going to have to be a slanted table, really slanted table for Drew to come in here and say his team cheated the Titans out of a win. That's all I can say.
Well,
especially because it's the Titans.
Well, when there's a 30-point differential, I'll be like, well,
that's kind of how I felt against Houston. I was like, some of these calls are really going against Houston, but does it matter? Like, could just not be the ref's day.
40-10.
I'm not worried about
40-10.
Let me say
Kansas
this:
City.
I am not worried necessarily about the refs in this. I don't think anyone's looking to set up the classic Super Bowl setup. I don't think anyone's looking to do any of that. We haven't seen a whole lot of it in the playoffs. And to their credit, like I said, you go into Baltimore, who's the NFL darling, it seems like, with that Lamar Jackson. You go into the New England as the Titans on the road in Foxborough. You're like, okay, surely they're going to want New England to advance. I felt like those were two fairly officiated games. Or relatively fairly. I mean, there's always stuff that everyone's going to complain about, or like the ref missed this, the ref missed that, this should have happened. And some stuff went against the Titans, like Jeffrey Simmons slamming down on Lamar Jackson's head accidentally that he got fined for, but no flag was thrown. That could have been roughing. Titans got away with one. I felt like it was fair enough. And I think we're going to see that again on Sunday. I think it'll be fair enough for both of these teams.
Yeah, trust me, I'm huge about the NFL wanting teams to win and pushing refs to kind of favor a little bit of flag play. But this year,
we believe it happens.
Yes, this year in the playoffs, I haven't seen a lot of it.
I agree.
I honestly have not. And trust me, and this is no knock on the Titans' win against the Patriots, but did you watch that game?
Here it comes.
Did you watch that game? I mean,
you say Adoree Jackson, so help me God. I'm going home right now.
No, I'm not. My point is did any of those flags really, truly, consistently fall in the Patriots' favor?
There weren't a lot of flags, period.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. That's exactly what I'm getting at. If there was one darling of the NFL, it's the Patriots.
Right.
The NFL makes the most money when the Patriots play a primetime game, and that's including the playoffs. They make more money. Kansas City fans can know this. It's the reason we go up to Foxborough. They make more money with the Chiefs and the Patriots playing in Foxborough than they would if they played in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And that literally goes with any fan base, realistically. Yes. You make more money in Foxborough when they play. There's a
massive market.
There's a
massive
reason
appeal. They've been good forever.
Rule changes in the NFL favored a lot of quarterbacks that do well. Again, hoping Mahomes is the golden boy. Come on.
We need some rule changes.
Make plays to favor us.
Chiefs get 7 points when it snows.
If you wear red, you automatically get 10 points.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
I think the Falcons can get down with that.
To be honest with you, going back to what we were talking about, I hear you, man, but I don't think that's the case. If you ask me, the most money to be made in this Super Bowl with these 4 teams left is going to be the 49ers and the Chiefs. If I had to pick 2, that'd be it.
I would definitely go Kansas City, but I almost think it doesn't matter. Green Bay, even though it's a much smaller market, obviously Green Bay fans everywhere. It's one of the original teams for the NFL that it was on every Sunday. It was right. Sunday football that was on all the time. Everybody's a Green Bay fan. I don't know if they necessarily would care for the NFC because obviously San Fran, massive market. You're probably going to get most Californians watching too. But yeah, I would take Kansas City too. But I'm not. If that was what I was worried about, it wouldn't be Nashville and Kansas City playing in the AFC Championship. It would be Foxborough and Houston.
There are a lot more Niner fans than you think there are, and there's
a
lot of Packer fans too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's big enough that the NFL's like I need to have one over the other. Kind of like these teams. I don't think it's big. Like there are more Chiefs fans than there are Titans fans, but I don't know that it's massive enough because they're both smaller markets that they're like we must have this team go on.
My point is, I don't think the 50th or 100th or whatever anniversary everything is. Does it really make a significant difference of the Packers playing the Chiefs or the Niners playing the Titans? I don't think so.
I don't either. Like I said, we haven't seen anything untoward. Then again, Monday when we have our show where we're going to talk about this, because it's going to be late after the games, we're not trying to keep everybody up, I may come in here and I may complain up a storm. Like, they wanted Kansas City to win it.
And I'd be like, what are you talking about, dude?
That was clean. That was the cleanest game I've ever seen. Yeah, no, I know. But,
20 penalties, 0 penalties, perfect.
It's clean. Or vice versa. I'll be like, 0 penalties for everyone. I was like, Titans didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah. Again,
Derrick Henry literally picked up the defensive end and pile drived him in the ground.
That's pass blocking. Everybody does it. Okay, a couple more of these here. Chris says he's going with Tennessee, the better defense, and there's no way you stop the monster that is Henry. This is coming from a Colts fan.
Can we... how many times do I got to say this? You run the ball in Kansas City. That's how you play Kansas City.
But do you run it like this? And that's what I want to know. Because you don't run the ball in the Ravens. You don't really run the ball in the Patriots. You do a little bit. I take it back. The teams that beat the Patriots ran the ball pretty effectively.
You can't keep running the ball in Kansas City. That's the problem. We're going to put up points, and you got to keep up.
Well, that's the thing. Just like I said with San Fran, you can't trick yourself into thinking I need to get away from my game plan. Even if Kansas City puts 14 points on the board right away, you can't say, oh, no, we have to throw.
Oh, you will.
We'll see. They haven't so far. I mean, if anyone will run the ball while they're behind and run the clock down while they're behind, it's the Tennessee Titans. I've never seen that before. Again. So we'll see what happens. One more here. Rob says Packers will find a way to win when all is lost. Just R-E-A... No, I spelled that wrong. R-E-L-A-X. See, I can't be Aaron Rodgers because I don't know how to spell. Relax.
What were you going to spell?
I don't know. Real estate? I'm not sure.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Well, guys, this is
a great show.
It was a great show.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Drew? Before we go and go our separate ways before this game?
Yeah, it is as patchy as I can grow in a beard. I have not shaved, and I will not shave if Kansas City wins. This will be a full-blown...
Me neither, but I'll still look
full-blown
like this.
retarded beard. Oh,
just kidding. I've been shaving.
we can't use that word. Full-blown, patchy, not good-looking beard. I already messed up.
It's all right. I did it last time, so...
In the Super Bowl, that will be what I look like. I will literally have long hair on my face that does not look good.
It's going to look like a hippie.
But I'm not shaving. If they win, I'm not shaving because that's my superstition and moving forward on it. Yeah.
That's why they're there.
Yes.
It's the beard.
Yes.
So
we can't call it a beard.
It's the patchiness. That's what's got him there.
The beard that needs help.
Okay, fair enough. My final thoughts are that was a tremendous show, guys. I had a lot of fun.
I did too.
That's all I can say. Chiefs fans out there, again, I told Drew this. We've joked, we've prodded at each other all season long. Even we've poked fun at everyone's team and everything else. But I just think it's amazing that one of our teams is going to the Super Bowl.
It's crazy.
I think it'll be even more amazing if my team loses to see the 49ers beat. No, I'm just kidding. It's the dream scenario. I'm so glad that we got to experience this. We both got to go into this week. We did. I took the Titans, you took the Chiefs, and we both went 49ers.
Oh, did we say that?
What, did we say that? I don't know. We said it in my head. I'm taking the 49ers. Drew's taking the 49ers because look at them. They're cool.
Literally the most complete team.
And that's not a slam against the Packers. I think they can win it. I think, like I said, it's got to be early.
Yep.
Got to come out with some, what's the right word? Some initiative. You got to show the initiative.
Some jazz hands.
Okay. My final thoughts, like I said, fun show.
No one likes jazz hands?
Not anymore. Not anymore. All right.
Sparkle fingers?
We got some special things. Are you done? Can you just please, for once?
Guys, thank you again for all the likes, comments, and shares.
Making me an old man.
It means the world to us. We appreciate it. It was a great show, like he said. Man, you guys are all great, but I did try to grab everyone that commented, and if I missed you, I'm so sorry. But Michael, Jacob, Nate, Martavius, Ian, Rob, Patrick, Julie, Terrence, Justin, Bees, Justin, Marcia, Jay, Michael, Tom, Mary, Derek, Robert, Rick, Frank, Bill, Robert, Mark, Jimmy, Jeremy, William, Chris, Adam, Damien, Cody. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for commenting and joining us.
I love that the list's that long. It's always so much better when we take the last 12 minutes and read it out because it means you guys are involved. I'm not kidding when I say I love that everyone got involved. And everyone's hyped for these games because I think they're going to be great. Regardless, even if your team's way out of it, even if it was the Lions and it ended a long time ago, I think these are going to be fun and entertaining games to watch. Regardless, there's so many kind of stories going on in the background. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Real quick, one last comment. Bill says, "This is great. I'm following you guys on one window and sharing it with my peeps in another window. It sounds like an echo chamber, or maybe it's just a PBR." Yes, man. If I bought the beer, it'd be PBR. But when you buy the beer,
it's always Yingling.
It's Yingling.
Unless it's something else. I mean, I drink a lot of stuff,
Bill,
but I love Yingling.
But Bill, that's why I always liked you, man.
Absolutely.
PBR guy, can't go wrong.
We will be back on Monday instead of Sunday this week. You know, we were talking about it. Is it worth doing a show right afterward? Even though we would love to get that live reaction right after the games, it's just going to be late. And I know I respect that people have to work on Monday. We want to catch you at your best. So we're going to do it Monday, 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern, same time as always. And we're going to talk about how the Titans slew the demon that is Kansas City and is moving on to Miami, where Ryan Tannehill is going to get his greatest revenge on the team that didn't want him. Ken, how about that for a storyline? How about that?
No, Andy Reid finally gets to win a Super Bowl. That's what's important.
Matt LaFleur moves to Miami and gets one, and Kyle Shanahan redeems himself after that terrible 28-3 collapse for Atlanta. Everybody's got some skin in the game, but you know what? I think Tannehill's the best story, so we're going with that. Until then, we will see you guys next time on Monday.
Yeah.